Welcome to the Ending Channel. My game name is Batty, and I will be your host for the next little while, telling you all about Rat Colony, the coolest card ever. I love it, I saw it printed, and I immediately knew I had to build a deck around it. This is a really simple deck that anyone can build, anyone can play. Almost all the cards are uncommon, so it's quite easy to put this together as a semi-starter deck. I definitely enjoyed playing it today. I played about 15 or 20 games with it before I decided to make a video on it, and then I just made a video about the last 5 games I've played. When I was pulling the videos, I cut them up because I wasn't sure which ones I was going to use and which ones I wasn't. They were all pretty simple and straightforward, so I ended up using all of them. So they are in the order that I played them, but they are cut up anyways. The first one, the sound is messed up, I know. I apologize. I'll try to fix it on future videos. As is customary on the Ending Channel, I'm just going to tell you what I think right off the bat. The deck is awesome, it's cheap, it's efficient. I would suggest building it if it seems like it'd be fun to you. Following this will be a short deck tech and then 5 videos of gameplay. Hope you're all having a good day and hope you enjoy. Alright, so this is the quick deck tech for Rats in Arena. And as the namesake implies, it's a rat deck. It uses this card Rat Colony, which is quite cheap. 1 black, 1 colorless. And each one gets +1/+0 for each other rat you have in control, that you control. And the deck can have any number of them. So as you can see here, I've got 20 of them. For any of you wondering how you get 20 of them, if you have to collect 20 of them, you don't. In your collection, you just have to get to 4. After you get to 4, like you do in any other card, it'll immediately allow you to put as many as you want. So you could have that number be 80, 100, a million. You get the idea. But the basic idea of this deck is to get ideally 4 of these into play, which would allow them all to be 5/1s, and you swing with all of them, do 20 damage. Now, the rest of the cards in the deck are just there to help you do that. So the basic concept of using the Rat Colony to swing for 5 damage is fine. You've got Bantu's Monument as one of the cards. It's a black creature spells, cost 1 less to cast, makes your rats cheaper to cast. Whenever you cast them, the opponent loses a life, you gain a life. This can help you against more aggressive strategies to help you gain a little bit of life. Red is particularly a problem for this deck. And the loss of life actually helps as well, because as you'll see in some of the videos, sometimes you do have to swing in with your rats earlier. You get in some damage and you can sneak them by, whereas normally you're not hitting for the full 20, even though that is the best case scenario. So this allows you to help do that. You've got Chart a Course to help you reload your hand, because this version of the deck doesn't have access to the card draw that exists in the standard version. You've got a single negate. It's just a catch-all that's there that you'll almost never use. You can really put another rat in that place. I just find that sometimes it does help. 4 cast down, early aggression and specific threats on the board. This helps you deal with them. I had Walk the Plank in this slot before, but I've been running into a lot of merfolk, so I'm finding this a lot better. You've got Open into Wonder, which is a secondary copy. This is copies 5 through 8 of your creatures cannot be blocked this turn effect. This one also has the added benefit of drawing you cards. So there's times when this is better, but this is just a secondary effect to do that thing. The primary effect is this guy, Tetsuko Umezawa. Tetsuko allows all creatures you control with a power or toughness of 1 to be unblockable. Cannot be blocked. So the ideal thing would be turn 2 rat, turn 3 rat, turn 4 2 rats, so you've now got 4 rats in play. Turn 5, Tetsuko, swing with all 4, you do 20 damage. You will see that sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's some variation of that. Sometimes it's swing with 2 rats and Tetsuko to get in 6 damage. Sometimes some other version of it. This Vanquisher's banner, it's, again, like the negate, useless a lot of the time, but when it's good, it's amazing. I've had certain games where I've played where getting this out and making it so that your rats have a 2 toughness is incredibly important. But by the same token, I've had other games where having this thing have 2, or your creatures have 2 toughness, kills you or makes you lose the game because of this guy. because now they don't qualify, they're no longer unblockable. So it is a double-edged sword. You do have to keep that into your qualifications. It's also a rare, so it's something that you can easily cut if you do not have extra rare wildcards. Now, as for the land base, you've got your islands, your swamps, and because it's my collection doing this, I've got 8 of each of the dual lands. Now, these are not necessary. They just help your mana base be more consistent. Because the main problem with this deck, it's not really a problem, but the main issue with this deck is that you need to have your blue, you always have to have your black sources. So doing it this way, you end up with 16 black sources, 12 of which turn on turn 1, which is really important, but really it's turn 2 that matters. So the chances of you drawing 2 of these fetid pools is like 6% or something stupid, as it was explained to me. But for the rest of it, because you don't have any turn 1 plays, you'll notice there are no 1 drops in this deck. So if you have to drop a fetid pools turn 1, it doesn't matter. But it still gives you a lot of access to black mana, so that you're always hitting your rat colonies or whatever you have to cast first or on your second turn. It's almost always a rat colony, but again, there are arguments for other things. You do, however, and this does, however, also give you 12 blue sources, which again, 8 of which turn on instantly, so you're only getting at 4 of them that turn on late. Limits your losses to having hands where you can't cast what you need to cast when you need to cast it. You could just as easily make this 4 more swamps and 4 more islands. It will just, however, increase your chances of drawing into double island starting hands, which you will have to mulligan. So the reason that you have so many islands, because a lot of people would look at this and be like, okay, well, if you're taking these out, why would you add 4 and 4? But the problem with this is that this is double blue. So if you draw into everything perfectly, and then you get to here, and you do not have dual lands, you want to make sure you have double blue. Now that's going to be turn 5, turn 6, so you do have some draws to get there, but you do need to make sure that that land is in play when you need it, because like when you get to the 1 turn kill, it's incredibly important that you have what you need to get there. Like, if you were building this deck, and again, if you have a little bit of wild cards, it takes almost all of it is uncommon or common. Like, there's nothing rare in the actual cards that you need. This is a rare, you do not need it. In fact, I'm probably going to take it out, but for the purposes of this video, to show you, there's multiple different things you can slot in. When I first built it, I didn't have 4 cast downs. I had 2 cast downs and 1 walk the plank, and sorry, I can't remember the name of the card. One of those, no, I can't remember. Whatever, but another removal spell. Again, you don't need that. The charter courses are just to reload, helps you get more of the cards you need for going off in the 1 turn, or to keep you going after you've been wiped. And obviously Tetsuko is needed. So it's not a super easy to deck to make, because you do need a bunch of cards from a bunch of different sets, or you do need a bunch of uncommon wild cards. But it is definitely on the easier scale. My next project that I'll show is a crazy janky list that a friend sent me that I've been tooling around with a little bit, called Super Friends, and it has, I think, 16 or 18 mythic cards in it. So it's the complete opposite of this list. But yeah, that's basically it for the deck tech. So we'll get into some games, and I'll show you how to win with this deck, and also how to be terrible and lose with this deck. See you on the other side. Alright, so this is our opening hand. We've got 2 land, a bunch of rats, and an open into wonder. Seems good, we're going to keep it. And I believe our opponent goes first. I always forget to look at the little blurb that does tell you who goes first, but it's not particularly relevant to whether our hand was good or not. That would have been good regardless. So, I'm going to turn my phone down before it rings, and we're going to get started. Oh, our opponent took a mulligan. Interesting how they took another one. This is bad. So I always feel bad for the situations like this, but it does mean that he's almost certainly going to win, whenever my opponent mulligans, they seem to do quite well. So we'll see how that actually goes. But for now, we're finally going to get started, it looks like, because I believe he just is deciding whether to scry to the top or bottom. It's one of my concerns with this game, is like there's simple things that they haven't finished yet, like telling me whether he scried to the top or bottom. In physical magic or in Moto, you can always see that, but in this, you cannot. So we're going to start by leading with the fetid pools. Tapped, we don't care, we have no 1-drops. And that'll turn on next turn when we care. They're playing an island, so this is already looking poor. But we're going to do the best we can. Set an island. Now, turning on end turn to pass priority automatically is not the greatest option. You shouldn't normally be doing this. It gives your opponent extra information, but I'm lazy and I like the videos to go as fast as possible. So this is Shaper's Apprentice, eh? So it's a Merfolk deck. That one's in some of the lists, which is actually usually pretty good for us. Even though they're blue, they usually don't run many counter spells or ways to directly interact with our creatures, and they usually can't race fast enough. So play out another rat and pass. We don't want to offer a trade. If they go aggro and start attacking without having blockers back, this is where you can get in some points of damage. A lot of times they'll run like Curious Procession, not Curious Procession, a card like, name something like that. But it allows them to draw cards and stuff like that, so sometimes they'll swing just because of that. Which is actually good for us. We like it when we don't have to do a full 20 all in one turn, but we are quite willing to do so. So this is working out quite well so far. We're going to pass, because again, we do not want to trade. Even though our creatures cost the same, it's much worse for us to lose one than it is for him to lose one of those flyers. So he's definitely getting the idea as to what we're doing, so I don't foresee he'll attack anymore, because it's getting way too dangerous to get damage. Forerunner, in case anyone wants to read what that does, he's going to look for a Merfolk, and then it also gives him a bonus, so this is a good start. He's going to look for a Mistbinder, put it on top of his library, makes it so all his Merfolk get +1/+1, and when he plays it, his army will get bigger. Now again, not knowing how this deck works is fair because not too many people play it, but he made the right decision. He stopped attacking. He wants to make sure that he's got as many blockers as he possibly can have. It's not going to help him because he is dead, but he doesn't know that at this point in time. Oh, actually, I take that back. He is not dead. So we've got the Open into Wonder, which will allow us to swing in with all of our guys, but it won't actually make them all unblockable. One of them would be blockable because we only have 3 extra mana. So what we're going to do instead is play out another guy and just pass the turn. The reason we did that is because we can only make 3 of our guys unblockable. So we're going to try to make it so that they are as strong as they can possibly be, because we're probably going to have to swing for 18 next turn. So it won't be lethal, assuming we don't draw into something cooler. He's going to draw a bunch of stuff, get superpowered dudes. Now again, his board looks really scary. It is really scary, but as long as he's not swinging for the 1-turn kill against us, we should be okay. Now again, he still doesn't understand how the deck works. He doesn't know about the unblockable stuff, so he's only attacking with the one guy instead of both, which is actually really good for us. So in this particular scenario, we want Tetsuko. And if we can't get Tetsuko, getting a way to kill a couple of his, 1 or 2 of his guys would be also really good. And if we can't do that, getting an extra land would be really good, because it'll put us back on our 1-turn kill. So we're actually going to lead with this, even though we do have to discard a card because of the trigger. So it'll be okay. Start like that, and we end up with Tetsuko. We win the game. That is why we do that. So Open into Wonder can go away. Tetsuko is going to now come down. And put -10. Okay. on to the next one. Okay, so we've got way too much land, but double rats and a cast down. I'm still going to keep it and see how it goes. So we wait, and it's our turn. Double fetid pools is also not ideal for getting our black mana out, but we will only need the one until turn 4, so it's not a big deal. And green mana with no turn 1 play is quite strange, so I'm not sure what we're playing against yet. Could be merfolk, could be elves. Yeah, merfolk. Alright, so that's 2 merfolk lists in a row, but I'll probably reorder these, so this game might be first or last. We don't know yet, and like I said, because this deck only has 2 casting cost cards, doesn't matter that we can just play that. Tapped, play out another one. Now, this is one of those situations where you get to make a decision. If I didn't have this cast down, I would actually offer this trade here, because it's a really good target to kill, but because we've got the cast down, we can wait. We're not super concerned about taking 2 or 3 damage as a beat, and it gives us the option to remove something else that's crazy later as well if we want to. Excuse me. So it's just going to put the counters on 2 merfolks, 1 there, 1 there. It's pretty par for the course. We're going to play out another land and just jam double rat. This one and that one. And cast down got excited, wanted to come play. So we're going to pass again. And again, like I was talking about before, this is one of those matchups where it's a race, but the other person doesn't know it's a race. So now we're going to play an island. Now we've got lethal if we can find Tetsuko. So we'll cast Chart of Course, see what happens. And there he is. We will throw away a rat and cast Tetsuko and win the game. There he is. All attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 dead. Or 0 life. Victory. On to the next one. Alright, and here we are again. And we're looking at 3 land, 1 rat, and a bunch of other cards. So, not optimal, but gives us lots of options. So, we'll lead with an island. Click pass priority and see what we're up against. So black could be some sort of control, or vampires are the common ones. So play out that. Now this is one of those matchups that's a little bit difficult because there's a lot of removal in black. So we've got to see what they're running. Oh, vampires. Alright. So we get down on the 3rd land. Now, if we had another rat, playing a rat and attacking for 3 in a situation like this to get in a little bit of incidental damage, definitely a good call. But since we do not have one, we're just going to look at this and read what it does, make sure we don't care. Nope, it's just a vampire that can come back to life. So we're going to look at all the options we have. None of them really seem too interesting, and we'll get in for 2 damage. And then we'll go back over, double check. Now again, could be an interesting opportunity to throw this guy in early, but not a good idea when you're going against a deck that's in 2 of the best removal colors in the game, because they're going to have a lot of options to kill your guys or seal them away. Like, they've got access to seal away, settle the wreckage, cast downs, Vraska's Contempt, etc., etc. I think this is the first set in a long time that I've ever seen where I think white is actually the best removal color. Usually it's red or black that I think has the best removal options. But in this particular format, the white cards are just simply spectacular. See if he attacks. He does. Good guy. Alright, so we get out a fourth land. Now, one thing to consider here is the fact that we actually almost have enough land for casting out Vanquisher's Banner, and its last line is actually kind of cool because it makes it so whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card. So even though it turns off our Tetsuko Umezawa's unblockable triggers, sometimes it is worth playing for that if you've got a bunch of creatures to play out. We do not, unfortunately, have a bunch at the moment, but it is something to keep in mind for the future. Because it can sometimes draw you into your other unblockable spell. And we still don't really care to do anything else here, so we're going to end our turn. Now we're going to watch and see what they play. If they want to play anything like token generator, then we might cast down the Lord, but we'll see. This is another reason why when you're playing, if he's going to cast anything cool, usually he should attack first, unless it directly affects the damage state on the board. So if he has another Lord or something like that, or this, where it actually matters that he's going to attack, it's good that he's casting it first. We're going to resolve that, we don't care. And then we'll allow him to go to combat, he'll attack. Oh, sorry, I gotta hit buttons. Games are hard. He makes a dude. Well, we don't have anything else to do right now, and he's tapped out, so I'm going to blow up the Lord. At this time. Gives us one less damage off of our life, and more importantly, makes all his guys smaller. Now we have an option here that's kind of interesting. So what we could do here, since he's shown to be pretty creature-centric, is we could take a risk, play out Tetsuko, and play Chart a Course. Or play out Tetsuko, attack, and then play Chart a Course. It puts him at 12, makes it a lot easier for us to close out the game, and it makes it so we don't have to discard a card to Chart a Course. The problems with doing it that way is we expose our Tetsuko to removal during his next turn, and it taps us out, so we don't have mana for our negate. So I think just discarding the card is better for us right now. So we'll tap and see where we get. Right, so we got another creature and an Open into Wonder. I think we're going to drop the creature. So I think we'll throw away Open into Wonder. Stay on the Tetsuko plan. And we will end turn. One thing I'm interested in, I'm not too sure, is I believe this Tetsuko Umezawa is the same Umezawa as Umezawa's Jite, the magic card from the Kamigawa block. I'd really like to look into that, see if it is. So he's going to gain a life and attack for 2. I'm not blocking any of that. He's welcome to the life. And Bishop of Binding. Uh-oh. That's not so good. So he just stole one of our rats. Unfortunate. We'll play another one. And we will end the turn. So, had that not have happened, he would have most likely been dead next turn. But because it did, now he's not. And this is the kind of weird game states you get into. So he attacks with 1. No, just 1. That's another thing, is if he had attacked with 2, then even if we had our 4, we still would only be able to do 20 damage. So, nope. We will gladly take that damage. We're down to 9. Yeah, this is looking a little grim for us, unfortunately. We are probably not going to get there, and it's all because of that. Had that not happened, we would have had 6 6s, or 6 1s rather, and we would have had 4 of them to attack for 24 damage. Because we could have played that and the rat we just played. Not that the rat we would have just played would have mattered, actually. So it's really just that guy If this guy could attack, we still would win. But he has Summoning Sickness. So we'll leave up Negate, pass the turn. Hope we live long enough for this to all work itself out. But I think he's still going to swing with Lifelinkers and put us out of range. Oh, yeah. We are very dead. He's just going to swing with everything. Yep. So 6, 8, 11, 14 damage. Plus that bonus. Ugh. So 16 damage coming our way, and he gains 6 life, putting him at 27. Yeah, we lost. Not even going to bother. Blocking, give him the cool damage numbers, and we lost. GG. Alright, and we found a new opponent. Let's see what's going on. So, we're starting with 2 land, a cast down, and a bunch of rats. We are good with that. Let's see what our opponent's doing. He kept. We lead. Swamp. Green. Elves? Yep. Possibly elves, possibly dinosaurs, possibly some cool jankiness. I'm excited. Alright, so assuming we draw land, or just straight winning the game hand is quite possible on turn 5. Dinosaurs. So this could be a little rough. Again, fetid pools coming through on turn 3, where it doesn't matter that it's tapped. If we had drawn into, say, an island on turn 3, and then that was our turn 4 land, would have been a little bit damning, a little bit punishing for us to go off right on time, but game had our back. Again, opportunity to swing through. Usually they don't want to sacrifice their mana dorks, or especially ones that have the added bonus of getting buffed. But having said that, this deck is at least partially white, so I'm not entirely sure this is a dinosaur deck. He might just be playing these as both as mana dorks, or might have some dinosaurs in the deck just in case to activate that secondary ability sometimes. So we'll see. Kind of excited to see what's going on over there. There are a couple really popular net decks. Ooh, Naya colored. But one thing I really like about Arena right now is there's a lot of people with fun janky brews. Oh, it's dinosaurs. So this is Naya dinosaurs. It's a very strong list that comes up with ridiculously powerful creatures. There are 3 or 4 cards in this deck that if I see them, we automatically lose. End turn. No blockers. So that's a little bit dangerous. Now, we did not draw our 4th land, unfortunately, so we are going to try to get there through this, because it's quite important. Even if we didn't get it, which we did not, just to dig a little bit deeper, I'll throw away a rat. So we'll enter. So, yes, as I was saying, there's a particular card that whenever you play a dinosaur, it deals damage to everything, kills all our rats. It's really bad. There's another dinosaur that when it comes into play, deals damage to everything, kills all our rats. And then he also obviously has access to Lightning Strike and or Magma Spray, which is also quite bad. There's probably other options I'm not thinking of. And because he's running white, he could also be running Seal Aways, stuff like that. So, there we are. So, like I said last turn, we didn't get our land turn last time, but with the draw 2, but it did dig us 2 deeper, getting us closer to it, so that's why. Sometimes they don't always hit, but they're getting you closer to whatever it is you're looking for. Now we'll do this. Wait for him to say yes. Another one. Wait for him to say yes. Alright, so this is the turn that matters. If he kills our rats, we probably lose the game outright. If he doesn't, we win the game. So these are the exciting times when you get to sit here and see what the opponent can come up with. Because you have to remember, in a lot of these cases, this opponent may never have seen this deck. I've never run into anyone playing it. I just kind of saw Rat Colony and thought it was this funny card and wanted to play it. So he played out this one. Nope. And then on his actual turn, what's he got? Doesn't look like he's going to win. No blockers. And we'll auto in my turn because nope. So, right there, what happened? He just guaranteed that we win the game, but I was a little worried before he played that creature, because he still had his red mana untapped, which meant that he still had the possibility of one of these 2 cards being a Lightning Strike, or one of those 2 cards being a Magma Spray. So he could have held it, and then when we went to go off, killed Tetsuko, blocked like normal. He would have lost most of his creatures that were untapped, but he would have been at high life total. We would have been almost out of gas. So that's why the way you tap in this game matters. There's an auto tap function right here. Usually it's on by default. The first thing I did was turn that off, because it's possible that the game just automatically decided to pay for that creature with his red mana and a green mana instead of using these ones over here. Or he could have Seal Away, and that's why he left this, and this whole rant that I've gone on is useless and stupid because I'm thinking of the wrong removal option. But it's something that when you leave specific colors of mana open, he could have left one of these and one of those. It represents 2 different removal options. So if you were playing the game, it changes the way that you play it. And he probably thinks I'm a jerk because I've just been sitting here for forever not doing anything. Now he's looking at Tetsuko, maybe realizing that he's dead, maybe laughing at me because he's about to remove it. We shall see. Another thing I didn't think of until just now, Drover does tap for any color mana, so he still could technically have Lightning Strike up. My name isn't Batty for nothing. Forsake Cycles gains him some life. Does it? I think... No, that's the Exile one for enchantments. Not sure what he's looking for, but I'm assuming it's some form of removal. And nothing's going to change our clock, so we just go in and hope he doesn't have it. He did not. Alright, so I dirtled a little bit there. I apologize to my opponent. Oh lord, this looks bad. Okay, so 1 land, double into wonder, Vanquisher's Banner. Not a hand we want. So we will mulligan that. See what we end up with. Looks like our opponent's still thinking about it. And I think they've made their decision. We get our next next hand. Double land. Okay, that's much better. And with that hand, we kind of want to make sure we're hitting rats and lands before everything else, so we're going to toss that. Although that was a very good card. And I'll lead blue. Swamp. Rat. Possibly the cat's deck. Or something else spicy and strange. But the cat's deck is most common in those two colors as an opening. Though it's weird that they wouldn't have an opening card for their first two turns. Pretty common 1-drops and 2-drops in that list, so possibly something new that I haven't seen yet. And we're not getting lucky on our lands, but we are getting more rats, so that is always a thing. And they don't have a blocker, so I'm going to take this opportunity to swing in once they give me priority back. There we are. End my turn. So, what have you got, deck? I'm really curious what they're doing over there. Jade Light, eh? So it is a Merfolk deck again. There's a lot of Merfolk today. Alright, so double Explore. Nice big fat Merfolk. And we are just drawing into 1,000,000 of our guys. So, uncommon for me, but I am actually going to offer a trade in this scenario. I'm okay with trading for that creature, because it has so many bonuses, and still getting in, because that's 4 extra damage, so again, it's less damage we have to do later, and we do have double rats. So we can still hit a good critical mass of dudes. Again, I could offer the same trade. This is the kind of stuff where you have to kind of make up your mind as to what you want to do with that. Because if I don't offer this trade, and I draw a mana next turn, then we win. Because I can play out the rat and Tetsuko. I'll do 15 damage. So, that's not a real big deal. But, if I offer the trade, again, killing his dude, doing 4 damage, puts him to 9, and then these are already 8. Plus that guy, so if he doesn't play a guy, or I draw a land, I win either way. Not 100% sure on which line is correct. I think I'm just going to try out the all-aggressive attack. We will see if he wants to make the trade again. No, he did not make it this time. Alright, so that makes our next turn much smoother. Wait for him to actually... Oh, he cycled a cast out. Interesting. That would have been a good option to prevent lethal. That I actually hadn't thought of, because it's not super common in the Merfolk deck. If this even is a Merfolk deck, it doesn't look like it. He does have Seal Away, so that is a thing. Again, if I had the extra land, could have had Negate up. But in this case it doesn't matter, because we're going back to the plan 1. So yeah, in this game it didn't matter that I did that final attack to risk hitting the Brontosaur, because he would have died anyways. But I think making it in that particular situation was the correct play. I had limited information about what he was playing, and giving us a chance to be able to get through with less damage later and still coming through with the win, I think was worth the risk. As I said, while playing this deck, it's really important for you to decide what you think is best for the game state and move forward. It's a really simple deck to play, but you're really just making up your mind as to whether you're going for the 1-turn kill or whether you can get in some incremental damage and make your life easier in the end. In one of the games, the one with the vampires, I definitely made a mistake by not playing the Umezawas. unblockable creature earlier. I initially mentioned it, and then the next turn he played, I think it's 2 turns later, he played the Bishop of Binding. So it's probably best I didn't play it before that, but I had 2 turns in a row to play it after that, and I definitely should have. I don't know for sure that it would have won me the game, but it definitely would have put me in a much better position to do so, because I had open mana that I was not using for anything for those final 2 turns, and with it in play, I could have been swinging through with creatures that I definitely wasn't blocking with. So I probably threw away that game, but all the rest of the games seem to go pretty well. It's a pretty simple deck to build, it's a pretty simple deck to play, and I hope you all build it and enjoy it. That's all for the video. Stay strange, Internet.